KREM 2 News begins now.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. I'm Brandon T. Jones, and with the start of a new year, we're taking time to look back on some of the top stories of the past year here in the Inland Northwest. Let's start with some stories that made headlines in January of 2024.
Snowblowers echoed through downtown Coeur d'Alene as businesses blazed a path for their customers.
This is a town that people get out and they're not afraid to walk around a little bit.
Come this way.
Joan Woodard left her car at home Wednesday. Her dog sure didn't seem to mind.
I feel nice and toasty. She's quite well insulated. Oh, this was just around the block.
From Coeur d'Alene to Spokane, drivers face slick roads and poor visibility.
Oh, just January.
Eastbound I-90 near Liberty Lake looked more like a parking lot this afternoon. Several wrecks and slide-offs shut down the freeway, and drivers diverted off to Sullivan found themselves in bumper-to-bumper traffic along Sprague and Appleway. The Spokane Police Department tells us officers responded to roughly 40 collisions around the city Wednesday between midnight and 5 p.m., far fewer than the 85 reported during the snowstorm on December 1st. KREM 2 viewers at home were eager to bust out their rulers and show off just how much snow fell in their neck of the woods. We also received a handful of animal pics. No matter their size, they all seem to have fun exploring the snow. And while the snow is no longer falling tonight, city, county, and state plow crews are still working to clear it. In Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
It was a sight to see at the Coeur d'Alene Resort Marina Monday.
It's definitely going under.
A sight Jennifer Fitzgerald just had to check out for herself.
Well, of course, there's a lot of talk about what happened on G-Dock, and so I wanted to see that, but I also wanted to check on our boats down on D-Dock.
Her boats are still afloat. The same cannot be said for this one. And it wasn't the only boat to go down on Lake Coeur d'Alene. Last week, Eastside Fire District responded to this sinking houseboat. The district tells KREM 2 News it's unknown what caused the houseboat to capsize, but it has been floated back up to water level since. It's also still unknown what caused this boat to sink, but Fitzgerald guesses recent weather had something to do with it.
You know, we had lots of storms, and then we had a lot of snow, and then we had a lot of precipitation, so there was some weight. So I don't know whether or not the boat just had succumbed to the weight of all of the snow, ice, and wind and everything else that we've had.
I did speak with someone with the Coeur d'Alene Resort, which owns the marina and rents out these slips, but they had no information on the boat or what caused it to go under.
It is definitely held up by the lines and whatever buoyancy the boat has.
Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Kind of immediately, you could tell something was off.
Emma Patterson has been playing volleyball since the 3rd grade. She started her college career in Alaska, but jumped at the chance last year to transfer to the University of Idaho.
I'm actually a 4th-generation Vandal. My mother and father, grandma, grandpa, great-grandmother, and great-grandfather all came through the university.
Let's see if Idaho can win a long one.
But she says her dream team quickly took a dark turn because of head coach Chris Gonzalez.
He physically pushed a girl to the ground during practice when he had jumped into the drill, when he called the girls linebackers, implying that, you know, that he's not feeding them well because they need to lose weight. Last year, there was a African-American girl on the team, and he made kind of racial comments about that.
Set. Then your side. Wow!
She says the abuse was almost daily, some players being targeted more than others, and some incidents dating back to the 2022 season when Gonzalez was first hired.
We talk about not building a culture, but rather building a set of values that are important to us.
Hearing about all of that and then combining that with my personal experiences this year really set off kind of the sirens of this needs to change.
What was it that made you feel like it wasn't just tough coaching, but something that rose to a level where it needed to be reported to the university?
When he started talking about being able to say and do anything he wants to the international girls on the team because they can't leave, and was ignoring injuries, that's when it really started to become like, this isn't okay.
Last October, Emma filed this official complaint with the university's Office of Civil Rights and Investigations, claiming things like body shaming, ignoring medical advice, and putting players at greater risk of injury, withholding food, and creating a culture of fear, humiliation, embarrassment, and intimidation. She also says at one point an assistant coach drove several players in a team van at almost 100 miles an hour. She shared this video with KREM 2 of the speedometer hovering just under 100. And when questioned about it later, Emma says the head coach dismissed their concerns and told the U of I athletic department that the women were making it up. Emma says the situation was so bad, the women asked that the official investigation be delayed until the end of the season.
We were informed that our names would be released to the coaches as soon as the investigation started. And we were so worried about retaliation and our safety that we didn't want him to still be responsible for our care and know who we are.
According to Emma's complaint here, she says more than a dozen players also endured similar abuse. And they often said that if they took those concerns directly to university officials to report it, they said they were often not taken seriously or sometimes outright dismissed. So I took those concerns to the top communications director here at the University of Idaho. When did the university first learn about these accusations against the volleyball coach?
So my understanding is the first allegations came into athletics and for review in October. Then on the request of the complainants, anything further was delayed, and then the investigation began then in December.
Does it concern the university that 13 young women have come forward and said that they have ongoing complaints?
Anytime there's a concern brought to the university, that's taken very seriously.
So I'm just going through this particular complaint from Emma. She addressed a number of things, including comments about looks, driving players to and from events at almost 100 miles an hour, retaliating if actions are reported. Are those particular things acceptable from coaching here at the University of Idaho?
I can't speak about a particular investigation or specific complaints.
But are those particular things?
I can't speak about them.
But in general, if anyone was doing that who was a staff member at the University of Idaho, do you think that those things are acceptable?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Emma received this notice from the university acknowledging her official complaint, saying if substantiated, the conduct could violate certain policies. It implemented a limited no-contact order for everyone involved, saying communications should be restricted only to those necessary for official team activities. It did not give an estimate for when the investigation could be complete. The university denied a KREM 2 public records request for additional information.
What can you tell me about what the university is doing currently?
So right now, the outside investigators are looking into the allegations within the volleyball department. They have been asked to work expediently and bring us back a full report.
And you have no idea what the timeline is for that?
I don't.
How long does that process generally take?
It depends on the specific investigation.
Ballpark?
It depends.
Months?
It
Years?
depends. It depends.
Okay, so then the report comes back, and who gets it?
And those reports go to the president.
And anyone else? Then
I don't know.
You don't know where those reports go?
No, I don't.
Do you have a message to students who feel that their concerns are not being addressed?
So as I've said, anytime that a student brings concerns forth to the university, we take those very seriously. We do look into them and take action as necessary.
Emma tells me she's received no further communication from the university, but she vows to continue playing volleyball at U of I for herself and her teammates.
If we all leave, who's there to make sure it doesn't keep happening?
Big dig, nice pass, great setup.
You know, I had some great coaches up in Alaska, and just even growing up, that's kind of why I got here and I'm at this level. And so I know what hard coaching looks like. I was lucky to know the difference, to know that the jump from high school to college doesn't mean a jump from, you know, your high school coaches to abusive coaching.
Good bump there in the back row by U of I.
Still, with spring practices starting up soon and with Gonzalez still in place as the head coach, she tells me she worries about what the next season of Vandal volleyball will bring.
I am really, really afraid because I have been so vocal about everything that I'm going to be experiencing extreme retaliatory action. I don't know why the school and the athletics department is choosing, or at least what it feels like is they're choosing an abusive coach over 13 girls. We tried to follow the student athlete handbook, you know, use all of the tools that we were given to hopefully receive an appropriate response. But every single turn, it feels like we've been brick-walled. So where do we go now, you know?
Welcome back to the KREM 2 Plus Year in Review. I'm Brandon T. Jones, and right now we're looking back at some of the top stories of 2024. Join us as we go month by month through the year's headlines. Right now we want to look at some of the top stories that made news in February.
Well, windows were smashed in and a local family business was vandalized. Mary Lou's milk bottle in the Garland district is now recovering after Tuesday night's break-in.
They took this ring off and then they just shimmied this off, cut the whole power.
A nightmare situation for Tom Ritchie.
Probably the worst that we've had.
The thief struck sometime after 10 p.m. on Tuesday.
Got his plier, got a tool out. All you do is get that ring off.
Thanks to security cams, part of the act was caught on camera before the thieves cut the power.
Being shut down is kind of hard to accept.
The cut power melted and spoiled much of their food products like the ice cream.
Everything's gone. It was too soft to serve.
The suspect stole the ATM and safe box inside the business. The milk bottle shut down for the day.
That's the damaged door. It's really busted that open.
A sad fact for frequent customers.
I come to the milk bottle just about every day.
Like Fred Reimers.
I can't believe it because, like I said, usually this neighborhood is real good.
The milk bottle was originally built in 1935. Now it's a diner with milkshakes, burgers, and sandwiches.
Unique to think that someone could do harm to something so precious to Spokane.
Christine Ritchie is not only Tom Ritchie's mother, but the milk bottle's previous owner.
It's very difficult to see the damage, But we had a lot of friends. We had someone stop by and offer to fix the neon.
Both Ritchies hope to be back in business Thursday.
Just hoping that customers will come back is my main goal.
The milk bottle says repairs could be in the thousands and are working with insurance to price out the damages.
It's good to have the local support.
The business already launched a GoFundMe which has raised more than $600. It was too early.
I was totally asleep.
For Jason Harvey.
This road's needed some work for a while.
It was like a scene from a movie.
Never thought this would happen.
Good enough to walk outside in his bathrobe.
There's a sinkhole in our front and the trash truck's in it.
Harvey woke up to a Spokane City garbage truck in a sinkhole right outside his home.
I think I can get some extra trash out today.
Others, like Michael Herndon,
I don't even know what to think. It's crazy.
Was at work when
my neighbor texted me. Yeah.
When you got here, what was your thoughts?
Where am I going to park?
The city says a dump truck fell into the sinkhole at around 8 this morning. The sinkhole's depth, almost 10 feet deep. But before this morning,
there was no indication that something was happening up to this.
The city says the asphalt gave way underneath, causing the truck to fall into the hole. The city says the cause of the break is believed to be a water main break in a 6-inch pipe that was installed in 1935. When the break happened, the dirt and gravel underneath the asphalt gave way when the truck was on the street. It took about 3 hours, but the truck was pulled out, then work on the sinkhole began. This wasn't the first time the neighborhood has seen an incident like this. In 2019, a fire truck got stuck in a sinkhole after a severe storm.
You can see the condition of the road. It's had multiple patches and repairs over the years.
And for Harvey, a blocked driveway turned into a good omen.
I went and checked and see if they picked up before this happened, and they hadn't, so I'm going to get some extra trash out.
The driver of the truck was not injured, and the truck appeared to have minor damage.
I'm Brandon T. Jones, and thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus for our year in review. We've been taking a look back at some of the big news stories from the past year in the Inland Northwest. Let's get back to it with some headlines from March of 2024.
Racism is real, and it happens, and it's awful.
That's Lynn Roberts, the University of Utah head women's basketball coach, last night following their game against Gonzaga, where she described racist acts against her team while they were staying in Coeur d'Alene last week.
And it was really upsetting, and for our players and staff to not feel safe in an NCAA tournament environment, it's messed up.
A day later, we're getting a clearer picture of what happened. In this police report filed with the Coeur d'Alene Police Department, it states that last Thursday evening, the team had gone out to Crafted, the restaurant, sharing with us this video of the team walking in and later back out. The report states, at approximately 1800 hours or 6 p.m., 2 lifted pickups were revving their engines and speeding by the team as they walked down Sherman Avenue.
it continues. The trucks then turned around and came back toward the team and yelled the N-word at them, as many of their players are African American, and that the incident caused a well-founded fear among the players. The next day, the team left Coeur d'Alene and moved to a new hotel in Spokane.
This is a very sober and serious day.
That's Tony Stewart with the Kootenai County Task Force on Human Relations. Today, he, along with other community leaders, held a press conference to address the incident.
I want to make it very clear and very loud that we condemn in the strongest terms those horrendous acts of hatred, and if the perpetrators can be found, we call upon them to be prosecuted.
Coeur d'Alene Mayor Jim Hammond addressed the University of Utah team directly.
To the young women who endured racial slurs while visiting, I offer my most sincere apology. We, all of us, stand with you. We embrace you. We celebrate your accomplishments and strongly denounce any malicious treatment toward you.
Idaho Governor Brad Little also weighing in today, writing in part, "We fully reject racism in all its forms. There is no place for racism, hate, or bigotry in the great state of Idaho. We condemn bullies who seek to harass and silence others."
This should be a joyous time for our program, and to have kind of a black eye on that experience is unfortunate.
I'm at the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, where just this afternoon they released the 911 call audio reporting the alleged racial abuse that happened in downtown Coeur d'Alene last week. Now, we know from Coeur d'Alene police reports a main financial donor for the Utah women's basketball team made the call. In the first call, he left a message. In the second call, he described to dispatch what happened that petrified the team.
Put what I'm reporting as almost a hate crime, but I need to speak with an officer. The party of 100 was walking to one of your restaurants, and two cars that were racing up and down your streets, but nobody paid attention to that, totally, I guess, non-relevant, made it a point to start yelling F and N, and I'll just use the N, just you can figure that out, and continued to race up and down your main street on the way to the pub with 100 guests from the NCAA, just appalled. I mean, and we left. We went out after, and guess what? Here's 3 more cars all racing down your main street, and guess what they did? F and N, F and N. There are petrified young ladies that are here for a basketball tournament to play nationally televised games. It's gone from talking about basketball tournaments to racist. And they're afraid.
The Coeur d'Alene Police Department continues to investigate this incident. They are actively looking for video of the incident. So if you saw what happened or have video of the incident, you are urged to call the police department. Reporting in Coeur d'Alene, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
We can't buy this kind of advertising. This is amazing for Spokane. All eyes are on Spokane.
Hosting the first 2 rounds of March Madness is a slam dunk for the Inland Northwest.
We're estimating that about $2.4 million in economic impact for Spokane County.
That's a lot of dough for the local economy. And a lot of dough being tossed at David's Pizza. They'll go through about 500 pounds of dough a day.
A little bit less sleep, a lot more coffee.
You can see Mark Starr's restaurant, David's Pizza, from the arena.
There won't be an empty seat. The streets will be full. The parking lots will be full.
That was the case the last time Spokane hosted the men's tournament in 2016.
Before 11 o'clock, we'd already sold thousands of dollars in beer, food, and liquor. Bloody Marys were off the hook.
Spokane Sports is on the hook for bringing major sporting events like the NCAA tournament.
The city certainly rolls out the red carpet when we bring the events to town, not only from the media perspective, but from the fan experience, from the athlete experience. I really think that mid-sized market is what's setting us apart.
It's why Spokane is becoming known as a place that can host big events. The Spokane Public Facilities District runs the venues. Stephanie Curran says bringing these events in helps our community flourish.
If you have a city that people want to visit, it's also a city that people want to live in. And if you have a city where people want to live, it's also a great city for people to visit.
Tourism is a big business. It has a $1.4 billion economic impact every year, according to Visit Spokane. And that provides about $1,000 in tax relief to every household in the county.
They are paying a lodging tax. They're paying the sales tax that we all pay. And so that provides relief for all of us who live here.
You couldn't ask for a better location. We really have become part of the neighborhood and really look forward to hosting these events.
For one weekend only, the University of Idaho band ceased to exist.
This is the biggest basketball game we've ever played at.
Giving up the Vandals' name to become Bulldogs.
I think we definitely helped. Just having that presence and always being there to get the crowd back into the game.
The U of I band stepped in for Yale's band at the NCAA tournament in Spokane, after the Bulldogs band stayed behind at home.
It has been absolutely surreal.
Band director Spencer Martin says he heard about the opportunity on Selection Sunday. He quickly sent an email to his band asking for volunteers to play. 29 students stepped up.
Once in a lifetime. It's been awesome to be in the NCAAs and, to be in the first round, but now to be in the second round, it's just unbelievable.
Since then, the band's gained national attention, appearing on media outlets such as ESPN and the New York Post.
There are still a lot more months of news ahead. Keep it here on KREM 2 Plus to see the rest of the year in review. And don't forget, you can get some of the latest news and weather anytime here on KREM 2 Plus. Just look out for our most recent newscasts and the videos at the bottom of your screen. I'm Brandon T. Jones. Thanks for watching.